Okay, I think we are live. Greetings, everybody. It's Brian Terrian and Danielle, better known as Elle, here with you today for our Disability Digest live event.
Hi.
Elle, thanks for helping us out. If you missed last week, we had a great event, even some singing from Elle. So I hope you enjoy today's show. Um, we're going to spend some time to address like a commonly asked compliance question for keeping your benefits and getting treatment. We're going to talk about some tips to survive. We're also going to talk about that. And we're going to take some questions that you have. I see David is here and we have Sunshine in the house. Welcome, welcome, Katie. Bunch of familiar faces. So if you're new here, welcome to the Disability Digest. We do these live events most Wednesdays. And the focus is to cover news, topics, items that help you do really three things. We help you get your disability benefits approved fast. And once you're approved, we want to help you keep them and help you maximize them. So if you're new, subscribe. If you enjoy the show, we encourage you to share. And we're going to share some resources along the way today. All right, Elle, you ready to get started? Whoop, you're muted, but that's all right. I think I
Oh,
understand.
okay. I'm ready.
We could do the whole thing and see if people could read our lips. That might be difficult, but all right. Let's see. First thing I want to cover is a commonly asked compliance question. So I'll kind of read a snippet from a comment that somebody put to us. Is so what I'm learning from the disability course is that I must be under doctor's care and getting treatment. What happens if there is no treatment? I have muscular dystrophy and there's no current treatment or care. So my request to go to the doctors is not that common. So with a continuing, once you're approved for disability benefits, in my opinion, you're under the same treatment commitment as it is when you're trying to get approved. You want to stay in treatment, make sure that your conditions are treated and that you still have limitations and it's preventing you from working. That's the general concept. So in this situation, there's a thing called compliance, which would apply for muscular dystrophy, vision, if you're blind, or amputations. Those are a few of the other ones. Like my neighbor across the street, Etzel, who is blind, has been since his late 20s. There's nothing really that can be done. So he just, I expect, goes to the primary care doctor every once in a while. But that's what the compliance is for his situation. If you have an autoimmune condition, if you have other chronic pain related items and you're encouraged to go to pain management or other things, the doctor regime that is suggested to treat your particular condition is what you should follow to be in compliance, right?
Yeah. And I also think, Brian, that a lot of times, there are members who have different conditions and they're only being treated for, let's say they do have muscular dystrophy and then they have mental issues such as depression or PTSD, and you're not being treated for PTSD. However, you are applying and stating that you have mental issues, but you're not being treated for it. It can look a little bit like you're using this condition, but what do you have to prove that you do have this condition? You're treating it, you want it to get better if it's possible to get it better. So always remember that all your conditions or all your limitations need to be treated. If not, then try not to include it on your application.
Well said. Yeah, that can be an issue. And a lot of people especially with, I call it brain health now, which is used mental health, they prefer not to admit it and don't want to seek treatment. I get it, but you're in a situation where if you don't follow what Elle said and Social Security looks at your application to get approved or your current status after you're approved, and they can simply say, well, if you were treated for that condition, you would be in a situation where you could work. That's what you want to avoid. All right.
Yeah.
Okay. So next we're going to go through a few resources. Well, actually, Elle's going to go through a resource that I want to have you cover, and then I'm going to go over and also cover some other ones. But our focus today is really to help individuals avoid like major issues with their finances and their health. And so we're going to cover some tips for you to survive. So, Elle, what do you have to share with us?
Okay. So before I go ahead and share that with you guys, I just wanted to ask this question because I've always had this question in my mind, because when I just started working here, I could have thought that this was a charity company, because I'm saying to myself, you're helping members get on disability. What do you get out of it? Like, how do you even start this? How did you even think about this? When you hear somebody starting a business, they're selling clothes and jewelry and stuff. Like, how
Right.
did you come up with this idea to help people get on disability? Like, how did you get here?
Interesting question, and thank you for putting me on the spot. Here's what happened. And I had a prior business. I've done different startups. And in 2005, I had a business that wasn't starting up. It was an email. It was a spam solution to keep, ideally, spam out of your inbox. And it did work. But we just couldn't get traction on it. But there was one area of the business that was working where we were generating revenue, and we had a direct sales home-based team of sales agents that were paid just like independent contractors. So I'm like, I wonder what's going on here. Maybe that we can do, expand this. So in the research that I did, now think about this, back in 2005, we had people working at home doing this and making money, which wasn't that common then. But we had like 3 or so out of the top 10 performers were individuals that were at home working because they had limitations. They were disability recipients. So I'm like, all right, well, maybe if there's 3 out of 10, there's another 30 people out there that would like to make some money at home, and this could be my savior. So that's how I started researching. And researching like Social Security disability benefits, Social Security disability jobs. And I started uncovering all of these problems. I found that, just finding work when you have limitations or you're on disability wasn't easy, but there was also the whole piece, Elle, about the challenges that people had getting approved. So that business wasn't going anywhere. And then some people I knew actually at a cocktail party asked me what I was up to. And I told them that I was doing this research. And they're like, well, I know somebody that's trying to get on their disability benefits. So that's like when I started this. And I started with my good friend, Dr. Glenn Livingston. I had a partner at the time that we started, who's actually going to come out and speak to us as a group in January. And so that's how it started. And it's always been no charge for the membership, a freemium model. We give everything away, and then we figure out how to make it work through ads, sponsors, and services. But thanks for asking the question. Yeah.
Okay. And I also have another question. And I think this is a very simple question that a lot of people should have a better understanding after hearing your answer is, initially, why is it so hard to get approved?
Right. Communication is really the biggest. If I could put one thing on it, it's communication. It's the language that people are used to speaking about their health is not the language that helps people prove that they cannot work. Does that
Okay.
make sense?
Makes sense.
Yeah. Yeah.
Hi, Ron.
Yeah.
Hi, Katie.
And it's been the same challenges since we started doing this. Same challenges getting approved. I mean, it's easier for us to get people approved now because we've seen this trends over and over and over again. And experience, is difficult to replace. But for the individual applicant, it's difficult. So yeah, thanks for asking.
Okay.
All right. So listen, here's what I would like you to do. I'm going to turn around and pivot and send it back to you. So Elle works here as an advocate, and she reaches out to members that join us and walks them through different strategies to help them out, and has spent time working with individuals that come here curious if they qualify or what it would be like or to go through and get their disability approved. And so there's some things that you've learned from this experience that you are willing to share. So if you would.
First things first, especially with surviving, because I think a lot of the personal issues that members have is I'm working, I can barely walk 5 minutes. I'm suffering with breathing. I'm feeling so much pain. I've had one member who said that he goes into the closet periodically to cry because of the pain that he's in. And he would really like to stop working, but he has bills. He takes care of himself. He doesn't have anybody to fall back on. And I really get emotional when I hear these type of stories, because I'm saying, wow, this could happen to anybody, like literally anybody. Engineers, doctors are members here as well. And, it's not necessarily prejudice to anybody. So what I really have learned so far, even something that I've been thinking about myself, is that you need to be prepared for these things to happen. And if it's already happening to you, then you're not late. You're not late at all. My suggestion is getting income protection. And the reason why I think that it's important to get income protection is because if you have to stop working, what are you gonna do? You don't want to be a burden on anybody, and you also don't want to feel helpless. So a lot of the times people see income protection as it's an expense, but it's really not. It's the same thing as saving for retirement. It's the same thing as paying for health insurance. You have to prepare for when you stop working, you're still getting 60% of your income, 60 to 70% of your income, so that you can pay your bills and take care of yourself, take care of your kids if you have them. That is what I think is major, because really we can't really stop, our health from declining. Most times, some of us have genetic issues and stuff like that, things that we can't really help. But getting income protection, I promise you that you will not regret it. And what I've learned so far with income protection is that you can find a plan that fits your budget. You can find a plan that fits you because you have short-term and long-term disability income protection. So short-term goes from about 3 to 4 months, and you have long-term income protection that goes up to retirement. Based on what I saw the CEO of Breeze, he said that you can pay for disability insurance up to retirement. So you can receive your own disability check up till retirement. So you get to choose how long you get the payments for, you get to choose how much you pay. I really think that you should invest in income protection.
Well said. Yeah, I'd love to hear in the comments from people out there, if you're approved, did you go through with income insurance? If you didn't, that was excellent. I think it is one of the biggest problems that people have, because there was just information that came out yesterday for Texas and Florida, and the wait time for the initial applications is at 254 days. 254 days, and you've got a 32% chance of getting approved. So, I mean, if you've got funds to ride that out, that's a whole different deal. But even if you do you want to spend them? Right.
Yeah. I guess if you have savings, I wouldn't tell you to take your savings and pay your bills if you have to stop working.
No. And if you're listening and you run a business, there's other insurances that can help you. There's Keyman insurance that you should take a look at. So these are items that we've partnered with Meet Breeze to solve this problem. I'm going to put a link in the chat. So if maybe this doesn't apply to you, like we have somebody that works here, Philip, he's got 2 sons that he's like, he's on them about it because it's happened to him. I mean, so that was excellent, Elle. Thanks for sharing that. So at the end of this presentation, I'll put that in there. A few other things that I want to share with people that will help you survive. And this is anybody that's either going through the process or already approved. Is I have it up on my screen, and this link will also be in the chat. When I look back at some of my videos, sometimes I absolutely cringe in how ugly they are, but I'm sure the message is effective. We all have to strive for our personal improvement, right?
That's right.
So I'm going to hit some of the highlights of what you'll find on this page. So maybe this will save you some time in checking it out. There's a service called Call 211 where you can call. You can get access to local information on treatment, free legal aid, support services, transportation. There's a whole host of things. So I definitely check that out. County social services. I find this most effective for people that did not do what Elle had just mentioned, that have lost their job and they've lost their income and they've lost their health care and are in need of financial assistance. Most counties have a bucket of money set aside, a lot of people don't know about, so that you can go in and you can apply, and maybe it gets you funded to go to a low cost, no cost clinic, or depends on each area. So that's something. Or if you had maybe something happened at your house, or maybe you were subject to like an Ian type hurricane event and something like that. A service for everybody. If you're not familiar with this, all you folks way in the back in the room here today, listen up. Centers for Independent Living. These are fantastic. They're government funded and they're run by seniors and those that are disability recipients. And they service those that are in that same population. And you can get treatment options. They have housing counselors. We have a member here, Jim, who works for one. Food assistance here in Vermont. They're partnered with Catholic Charities, Habitat for Humanity. They have legal aid. So they're all set up differently. And at the end of this bit, I'm going to give you a tip on how to contact these agencies. So that's one I would definitely find out. Now, if you're looking, another way that you could use Center for Independent Living, if you're looking to migrate back into kind of like a volunteer or work environment, this would be a great place to check out because you can start there, you could volunteer, or you could get hired there. And they'll put you on a plan where you can work below the allowed amount, keep your benefits. So that's certainly a place to do it. If you are paying for your cell phone, folks, check out EBB, Emergency Broadband Benefits.
It's actually changed now to Affordability Connectivity Program.
Yes, thank you. Thank you. And It's a need-based program that can either reduce or eliminate your internet charge and your
Yeah.
cell phone. There's people that have actually been able to get new phones.
Yeah.
Yep.
I've worked with them. I used to work for Cox, so
Okay.
I know that you get $50 off your internet once you qualify for it. You get $50 if you live on ingenuous. Is that the word for Indian people? Sorry.
No, it doesn't sound like it, but it's really close.
Yeah, that word. If you live on that land, it's $75 off.
Okay. What is that word? Anyway, if it
Yeah.
comes to me, I'll come back to you. So internet service is considered a necessity. It's a survival right now. So that's why you're able to access this. Department of Health and Human Services, that's another great one. And I'm just going to skip down to what to say when you contact these organizations is if you call and you're not prepared, it's going to be a long shot that you're going to get help. I'll give you an example. Let's say somebody is looking for housing and they're going to contact their local center for independent living. And they call in and they're like, hey, my lease is running up. I'm looking for a place to live. That's a typical call. But how the call should be is this. You should have a plan in place. You should have your budget, how much you can afford. You should have where you want to live, ideally where you don't want to live. And you should have a general idea of what your criteria is. Like, can you work with a 1-bedroom, or does it need to be a 2 or a studio? Does it need to be on the first floor, or could it be, second, third, or fourth floor? Can you do stairs? Do you need it close to public transportation? Those types of things. Because if you have that, and you call in and you get somebody like Jim, who is a housing counselor, he's going to be like, all right, easy to work with. I can help this person, right? Or I have a better chance of helping this person. So the same with anything else. Give some thought to your process, write it out. Be willing to send it in advance. All of these organizations have contact information, and then call and follow up. It would be the same process for contacting your congressman. We've taught people how to do this to get mostly to get their benefit decision expedited, to get their back benefits paid, to help them get out of a continuing disability review, different reasons like that. But when we coach people to do it, we have them put a plan in place. So make sure that you do have a plan to execute. So let's see, Al covered income protection, and we have these resources to survive. I'm going to put both links in the chat. And then what we can do now, Al, if you're ready, is we can take some questions from the group out there. So yeah.
And thank you so much, Des, Greta, and David. It's indigenous.
Okay. Yes.
Thank you very much. And also, Aaliyah, if you are a stay-at-home mom, you can get critical illness. So it's actually the same thing as income protection. So you can get critical illness insurance.
Yep. And so the first link I put in there was a video about income protection. You can click the link, you can go in, you can do an online quote yourself. If you're below 50, there is no medical exam. So if you're right at 49 and you're like, oh boy, I don't have it yet, you should definitely take action. Right? Over 50, you have to go through an exam. Second link I put in there is resources to survive. Okay.
All right.
So we ready to roll?
Yeah. So the first question I'm seeing, Greta, my SSA account now says 100%, and a decision has been made for SSDI and 100% deny for SSI. Was I approved for SSDI since it doesn't say deny?
Sounds good, but there's unless you have something in writing, it's difficult for me to speculate. Here's why there's a positive spin on that is if you're approved for Social Security disability, the income and the back benefits typically disqualify you based on the resource requirements for SSI. So that's why I see that there's some good news there. If you're looking in your My SSA account, that's where you're going to get the most updated information. And even if you call to try to get other information, they won't tell you over the phone. At least I haven't heard of them doing it, that you're approved or denied. They're going to say, get the letter.
Okay. And hi, Andrea. She says she's new to the group. Hi. And the next question. Okay. Katie. All right. Okay. I'm sorry. So Sunshine, she says, hello, everyone. It's time to learn about, okay, I guess. So I don't see a lot of questions here. Okay. Jeffrey says, what is the income amount that I have to stay under for 23 and not even bring up the aspect of the 9-month trial work period?
Okay. So it's $1,050 a month. I'm going to put the video in the chat to do that. You know, can I just say one thing that I wanted to mention? Earlier today, I had an interesting, I think it's a bit of good news. So we have been working and doing during the Medicare season and year round, we review people's benefits and we help them understand the plan that they're on, take a look at alternatives. But we're working with Joe in Indiana. And Joe is newly approved for disability. Congratulations. But the solution that we were able to find him is going to increase his cash flow by $180 a month. And here's the breakdown of that. There's other great benefits to the solution, but he's going to be receiving $150 a month on a expense card, and he can use that for food, for utilities, for purchasing items that you normally would at a grocery store. So that's $150. Plan also included a fitness benefit. He was paying $30 a month to go to a local fitness club. So we knocked those two out. So doing that work, it's like Christmas for us. And a shout out to Jam, who's not here today, for working with Joe and helping find that. So before I forget, I'm going to go find the link to how much we can make, and I'll put that in the chat.
Okay. Should I read the next question?
I'll try to multitask. You know, they say you shouldn't do it, but I'll give it a go.
All right. Danielle Norwood says, I have mitral valve prolapse, cardiomyopathy, peripartum postpartum cardiomyopathy, mitral regurgitation, and mitral stenosis dyspnea on exertion. What are my chances of being approved?
Don't know. And here's why. It's not the conditions that you have. Okay, my multitasking effort has hit a bit of a snag. I'm trying to put in, okay, I'll do it in two parts. I'm going to put in the text and then the link for how much you can make. So it's not to be disrespectful, but it's not the conditions that you have. And that's where when we spoke at the top of the event that Elle had asked me, it's really communicating how those conditions have reduced your ability and caused limitations so that you cannot work. Because it's common, or it's possible, let me say it this way, it's possible that there could be two people with the same conditions with different limitations. One could work and one couldn't work. So then if you were to turn that around and say, I can't sit for 15 minutes, I can't stand for 20 minutes, I'm only sleeping 2 hours a night and I wake up groggy and I have to take 2 2-hour naps a day. I'm not able to remember repetitive tasks and I'm so tired, I'm easy to anger and I fly off, things like that, that are really concrete restrictions, which you can learn from us. It's part of what we do here. Then that is the communication that you want to pivot to. Same for everybody that's out there that's approved. We've done this before where we do like events and helping people understand like what it is they need to say and do to prove that they qualify. So that was a great question. Thanks.
Yvette, she had a stroke. She needs someone to help. Yvette, all you need to do is just to go on our website, sign up your membership, and then we'll give you a call and discuss how we can help. The
Sure.
next question is, okay. My daughter turns 18 in a few days. Her projected graduation date is 6/4/23. I sent in the paperwork and forms and her counselor filled out a couple papers he held on to. I got an email of 23 COLA, which is in capital letters. I'm not sure if you're asking a question, Uncle Bucks, but that's what he said. Jeffrey said, the subgain employ amount is $1,470, but on the same paper I have, there is another amount of $1,050. Do I have to stay under 1,470 or 1,050?
1050. So the link that I put in about how much you can make, and then there's a video that shows you the regulation. This is my position on it, folks. When you go over the allowed amount for 2023, it's 1050 and it's $970 this year. Every month you go over that and show that you're earning over that, you are using a trial work month and you have a limited amount of those. You have 9 of those that you can use over 5 years. So just if you want to, my message to you is put yourself in a situation ideally so that you have no impact on your benefits. You're not using any trial work months and just stay under the allowed amount. Now, if you're self-employed and you have the advantage of using the expenses, right? Like your cell phone, if you're still paying for it, and other related services that you need to do your work. Okay. Oh, and if you're working like an employee, there are certain workplace accommodations that you can write off as well.
Okay. All right. ETQ, I'm so sorry. I had a stroke and finally I was approved for disability, but I haven't been approved for the Medicare insurance yet. I have to wait till July for the approval to take effect. Don't have any income other than disability check. Can I get any better medical insurance? Can I get any information about it? Thanks.
So for medical insurance now, that gap is not something that we are like, there's a variety of us that are licensed insurance agents here, but it's you'd have to go to the exchange to get like gap insurance to get you through to your Medicare. That's the only known solution unless you have a spouse that you can get onto that. Those are the 2 common options. Mm-hmm.
Okay. Bobby, I am 61 years old and on reconciliation stage, waiting 8 months. I will be 62 in July 2023. Do you think SSA will deny me for SSDI because they know regular Social Security payment will be lower?
I don't think so. I mean, I don't believe that. I mean, the point is, if you medically qualify and you prove it, then, there is a legal process that you can go through, that you do go through, whether you do it yourself or have somebody do it. So no. Now, here's just a tip for cash flow for you and others that are out there, is that when you turn 62, you could take your early Social Security. And let's say that that check amount is $1,500. Just use it as an example. And then your Social Security disability is probably closer to $2,000 a month. So I'll say early is 1,500, Social Security is 2,000. If you took your early when you turn 62, then you have some cash flow coming in. And when your disability gets approved, it would be changed from your early retirement amount to the disability amount, which is around 2,000 in my example. Now, here's the catch. If you do not get approved for your Social Security disability, you're stuck with the $1,500 check. All right. So if you have a good case, and there's ways in which you can find that out when you come here and use our course and speak to us about a strategy, then you can kind of vet that out and do kind of the risk reward thing. Right.
Okay. Mike says, I have an estate account from my mother. I'm in the process of applying for SSDI. I was denied, but now I'm applying for SSI. Can I still receive SSI?
So if that is in your name and those are showing as resources that you that are in your possession, my hunch is no, because if they're over 1,500 and you're an individual, or 2,500 if you're married, then you're going to be outside of the asset limit for SSI.
Okay. Dupree's Drone Zone. Hi, all there. Is there any way to submit additional information to disability besides snail mail? I would like to send in a file I have that is around 80 pages. I don't want to print and mail.
If you're managing your case on your own, you can hand deliver it, which is fun. I don't know of you can fax it. I don't know of another method. If you are working with a disability representative, somebody is managing your case, then you can provide it to them. They have access to the case file with Social Security, where they're able to upload information to your case file and also monitor all the information. So those are the different ways in which you can do it.
Okay, Sparkplug. I'm about to lose my house. All the assistance I've found only helps with rent, not mortgage. Do you know of anywhere else? I have already been lost too much. Thank you.
Yeah. If you have a mortgage, if you haven't done so, try negotiating directly with your mortgage company. They typically will help you, and some mortgage companies have stipulations for this. So tell them you're a disability recipient, here's where you're at in the process, and you can even kind of work out some type of payment theory or concept based on what your back benefits are, when you'll get the money, those types of things. So I'd go there, would be the first place. Just a heads up for everybody, this is Elle's first time doing this, like managing this. She's doing a great job. So shout out, if you would, to Elle. Thank you, Elle.
Thank you. Okay, Alia, she says, what if you were denied and notified that your next step is to appeal and go to the judicial hearing, but that you didn't get that notice and missed the time allowed due to being in the hospital?
Yeah, there's exceptions for that.
Yep. She says, when I check online, it shows nothing on the SSA sites.
Okay, so if you're managing this yourself, I would go back to the caseworker and explain the situation. If you have somebody that's managing your case, it's not a common process, but there's a known process where there is an exception. There's other exceptions too. Like if you have a mental illness and you didn't appeal on time, for example, that oftentimes you can have that reinstated. So, but I definitely get on it right away.
Okay. Linda, I was approved for my disability on September of this year. I'm
Yes.
62 years old.
Hmm.
I keep getting letters and postcards for Medicare. What should I do in regards to this?
Well, if you want to be entertained, I guess you could call them all back, but that's probably not what you're interested in doing. Um, if you would like some assistance with that, that's part of your membership. We do that at no charge, where we can evaluate your situation. First of all, we can help you understand your award letter, when it's actually going to be effective. We can talk about your doctors, your meds, the conditions that you have. There's a lot of variables involved, and give you an idea of what you'll be entitled to when, and you can do that. Or you could call all the other folks back. One other thing that we do, with those that we work with, that we do reviews, and if they accept the plan that we propose for them, um, is that they become eligible for our benefit protection program, which when you get your disability review, you have our assistance, one, to help you prepare for it, two, to help you know what to do when you get it, three, if your benefits get denied, then our legal team will get involved, like from a representation standpoint at no charge, because you are a client. So those are a couple benefits.
Okay, Sunshine Rucker, I've heard you talk briefly about stable account slash programs. Does a stable account protect income? How does it work?
So the stable account, you can get into a stable account if you are a Social Security disability recipient and an SSI or a welfare recipient. That double criteria. Or you're just an SSI recipient. Some people come here, haven't worked enough. So that's one. Two is it's condition driven, meaning that your condition was, I believe the criteria, Sunshine, is you need to be diagnosed with that condition prior to being 26 years old, which when I did my last research on that, they were in the process of pushing that up to in the 40s. Okay. Um, but it's a beautiful, if you can get into it and you have a way in which you can generate income, then you can have the income go into the stable account and have no impacts on your SSI benefits. So it's like there for a rainy day fund, and it can go up to $100,000. You can even invest it. So it's a beautiful thing for those that do qualify, and it's available in all states.
Okay, Laura, my initial application shows as being 86% processed. I'm looking at another 6 months before they make any sort of decision. The attorney has been unhelpful. Do you have a question there, Laura? Carl, newly approved. My wife makes over 80K a year. Am I still eligible for benefits, i.e. spending card or other extras?
Possible, but not as likely if your wife was not earning that much. There's there's two ways to get into those plans. One is being dual eligible for Medicare, Medicaid. This is just common. I mean, every market has got different benefit packages. And the second way that we see special needs plans is if somebody has a condition that matches a special needs plan in that area that would have one of these cards. And that could be somebody has diabetes, they've had a stroke, they've had a heart attack, or other type conditions. So
I think what Laura was asking is because her application is at 86% process, if she has to wait 6 months before she gets a decision.
it's possible. 86% though. I don't know if the 6 months, if you've been informed of the 6 months, but I would say here's another way to look at it. Typically the last step in the process is that somebody goes for an independent medical exam, right? And not everybody does that, only 72%. So here's my point to answer that question and others is contact. Well, you have a representative attorney working on it. You should make sure that that case manager has been contacted and been asked if all the medical records are in the file, if everything has arrived, if there's any other additional evidence that you submitted, has that been put in the case file, right? So medical evidence, additional evidence in the case file. And then you want to make sure that the case manager is asked, is there anything else? If everything is in there, you want to make sure that everything is in there. Is there anything else that we can do today to help you make a decision today, right? Now, if you can't get in touch with the case manager, then your representative or you can communicate in writing. But folks, don't push for a decision until you have all of the information, because you could get an unfavorable decision if you piss off your caseworker, right? Asking them, to get a move on. Okay.
Okay. Earl wants to know what happens once you go over the trial month of $970.
It's a little fuzzy to me because I don't know many people that do it. But you start migrating off of benefits, which they have a reinstatement process that you can get back on. But parts of that are you don't get your monthly check anymore, but you can keep your Medicaid for a period of time, Medicare for a period of time. I don't know the exact answer to that, but that's the direction that it heads.
Okay. Ella Couch says, SSA says my application information has been started by Brian, but they cannot begin processing my application until it's submitted. What do I need to provide you? Thanks. Her name is Leslie Carlson.
Sure. Leslie, I would contact your case manager directly on that. One, I don't want to speak about anybody's case publicly. And two, I don't know the details, so contact your case manager. When you joined us, you signed expectations for communicating, where to communicate. If you don't have that, we can put that in the chat here. Just let us know. We can get that for you. Okay.
All right. I took the cash value on a whole life insurance policy and planning to cancel the policy. If I cancel my whole life policy, do I have to report it as earned income to the IRS?
That's a good question. Here's what I consider earned income in the world that I live in here at the Disability Digest. If you are working, exchanging time for money, that's earned income. From that statement, I'm not a tax guy. I don't know. I don't want to speak to it. My hunch is it's not, but I would get confirmation on that from somebody that's their area of expertise.
All right. And thank you for everyone who is saying that I'm doing amazing. Thank you very much. Robert wants to know, does one have to utilize the ticket to work program to use the 9-month trial with SSDI?
No.
Okay. Sunshine wants to know, how can I talk live by phone with a Disability Digest advocate?
So you can call 844-210-6382.
Okay. You can also email us. My email is support@thedisabilitydigest.com. And yeah, you have a membership as well. Kathleen, hi. Does it make a difference if you are a citizen or resident when it comes to Social Security benefit payment?
A citizen or a resident?
Right. So I think a resident is a person who has a green card. A citizen would be a national person who is nationalized, I think.
Yeah. Here is the best way that I can answer that is Social Security tracks your eligibility, your earnings and your eligibility. In your My SSA account, which just changed yesterday, and at 2 o'clock today, there's a video goes out. There's 5 new updates to how they're managing your benefits. So you might want to check that one out. So what my suggestion is, go to myssa.gov or ssa.gov, and in the top right, log in or create an account. And when you log in there, it will show your earnings, taxes taken out, and your eligibility for Social Security disability, Social Security early retirement, etc. That's how you find it.
Okay. Sunshine, thank you. She says, bravo. Thank you for being here for us, Elle. You're welcome.
It's rainy in Vermont, and sunshine is welcome.
Yeah, we love sunshine. Ban everything. He says, or they said, the entire disability process ordeal messed up my mind. I have depression, anxiety, schizoaffective disorder, and a failing neck. And it was like I am on death row, pure trauma. A judge awarded it. I'm really sorry to hear that. Here we say, Marvin, great job, Elle. You're a natural at this. You make it look like you've been doing it for your whole life. Thank you. Alia, Katie, okay, all right. Hi, Kathleen. Hi, does it make a difference if you, okay, I read that one already. Katie, I have money in savings, but it is dwindling. I am not ready to go on that route yet, but do they just add the payments onto your mortgage?
Is this the same follow-up to the question about contacting the mortgage company?
I don't think so. It's a different person.
So what's not clear, well, I guess the question's not clear to me about what would be added to the mortgage. That's not clear.
Okay.
Is there an approval part of that question? Like if I get approved, then something happens? Read it to me again. Maybe I'm just not paying attention. Who knows? Please.
Okay. Let me go through that again. Katie. All right. She says, I have money in savings, but it is dwindling.
Mhm.
I am not ready to go that route yet, but do they just add the payments onto your mortgage?
I don't know. The question's not clear to me. And I don't know what route you're mentioning, like apply for disability and get income. So if you could clarify that and send it back, be glad to help you out.
Yeah, I don't see another question that was relating to that one. So
Okay, I've got time for 2 more, and then I've got to work my way out to my next commitment.
okay. I became disabled in 2009 and I'm married. She is paid as a PSA. Are there any spousal benefits available for my wife?
And is your wife an able-bodied person? If your wife is an able-bodied person, my hunch is no, unless she is a caretaker for you. And if your wife is alive, then that wouldn't be survivor's benefits because, so I don't, based on what you're asking, I don't know of any.
Okay, I think here is
Benefit
one.
could be living with you. I mean, I'm just thinking that you could try that one out. Oh, you're muted.
Oh, I'm sorry. I think about 3 more questions if that is okay.
Okay, let's do it.
Steve, I was approved for disability and it retroed back into 2021.
Good.
This really cost me since I was on low income insurance and now I have to pay the difference back. Okay, so someone else asked, do we qualify for stimulus check if we are on SSDI?
I don't know of another stimulus check out there. I know that there's a guy who runs a YouTube channel, Blind a Billionaire, that has been touting additional stimulus checks. Maybe that's where you learned of this, but I know of no other stimulus check.
Someone answered and said that they received the stimulus check while on SSI, so I guess they're answering. I live with my mom. If I'm approved, can she claim me as a dependent? That's from Greta.
Don't know.
Okay. All right. I think that's it for the questions.
Wonderful. One last time, everybody, a shout out to Elle for doing an amazing job today. And thank all of you for taking time out, coming out here. I'm sure there's other things you could be doing with your time. So I am grateful to have the opportunity to answer some questions and help everybody out. So just a quick recap. There's been links for income protection, tips to survive, been a link to our website where you can join us or update us as a membership, get your membership. There's no charge for the membership and no charge for, well, when you come in here, you can typically speak with an advocate, get a strategy to move you forward. So I'm going to put that link back in here again. 2:00 today, the update with the new Social Security website, the 5 features that they're coming out with will be released. Other than that, stay tuned. We'll be back next week, right, Al?
And remember, guys, that, if you want free information, you can always sign up your membership on the website. And also, there is value to the membership, even if you don't want representation, because we provide a lot of free information. And you get to talk to us. That's another perk. You get to talk to people like me and Jam. Yeah.
That's right. That's right. Help you get, keep, and maximize your disability benefits. All right, everybody. Make it a great day. Until